In the early 1600s, a group of English settlers set out on a journey to start a new life in the New World. They hoped to create a colony called Jamestown in what is now Virginia, USA. Jamestown became the first permanent English settlement in North America in 1607. But this journey was far from easy. You might already know about the massacre, but there are many cruel things you probably haven't heard about. It all began in December 1606, when 3 ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, left England. The trip was long and dangerous, lasting over 4 months. Finally, in May 1607, the settlers arrived at the Chesapeake Bay and chose a spot along the James River to build their colony. They named it Jamestown in honor of King James I. From the start, the settlers faced many challenges. The place they picked was low and swampy, full of mosquitoes carrying deadly diseases like malaria. The river water was salty and not good for drinking, causing many to get sick. Most of the settlers were gentlemen and craftsmen, not used to hard labor and unprepared for the tough work needed to build a new settlement. The settlers also had to deal with the native Powhatan Confederacy, a group of tribes led by Chief Powhatan. While the English wanted to trade and have peace, misunderstandings and cultural differences led to conflicts. The settlers relied heavily on the Powhatan for food and support, but their demands often caused tension. As months passed, the situation got worse. By the end of 1607, more than half of the original 104 settlers had died from disease, starvation, and fights with the Powhatan. The survivors struggled to build shelters, grow crops, and find enough food. Desperation set in, and the colony's future looked bleak. The winter of 1609 to 1610 is known as the starving time in Jamestown's history. It was a time of extreme suffering and hardship. By then, the colony had about 500 settlers, but their food supplies were very low. The summer harvest had been poor, and relations with the Powhatan had worsened, cutting off trade and support. As winter came, the settlers found themselves trapped inside their fort, surrounded by hostile Powhatan warriors. Fear and desperation gripped the colony as food supplies ran out. The settlers ate whatever they could find: dogs, cats, rats, snakes, and even shoe leather. But the most horrifying acts involved cannibalism. Faced with starvation, some settlers turned to eating the bodies of those who had died. One well-known case involved a man named George Percy, who later became the colony's president. Percy wrote in his journal about the grim reality of the starving time, describing how a man was executed for killing and eating his pregnant wife. These desperate acts show the extreme conditions the settlers faced. The settlers reportedly resorted to digging up graves to eat the corpses of their fellow colonists. This macabre act was a testament to the extreme hunger and despair that gripped Jamestown. In 2013, archaeologists discovered the remains of a teenage girl known as Jane, who showed clear signs of cannibalism. Her skull bore marks of butchering, indicating that she was dismembered and eaten during the starving time. Jane's story provides a poignant and tangible connection to the harrowing experiences of the settlers. By the end of the winter, only 60 of the 500 settlers were still alive. The survivors were weak and traumatized, and their hopes of building a successful colony seemed lost. The starving time remains one of the darkest chapters in Jamestown's history, showing the lengths people will go to survive. Leadership was crucial to the fate of the Jamestown colony. Some leaders made good decisions that helped the colony survive, while others led it to disaster. One of the most important figures in Jamestown's early history was Captain John Smith. Smith was a seasoned soldier and explorer, known for his practical approach and strong leadership skills. When he took charge in 1608, he set strict rules and work schedules to ensure that everyone helped with the colony's survival. Smith's policy of "he who does not work shall not eat" forced the settlers to build, plant, and maintain their community. He also established trade with the Powhatan, getting much-needed food and resources. However, Smith's leadership style was not without problems. His strictness and harsh punishments created tensions in the colony. Another key figure was Lord de la Warr, who arrived in Jamestown in 1610 with fresh supplies and new settlers. His arrival marked a turning point for the colony, bringing much-needed relief and stability. De la Warr enforced strict discipline and military-style organization, which helped the colony recover from the brink of collapse. Leadership in Jamestown was a double-edged sword. Strong leaders like John Smith provided direction and hope, while the absence of effective leadership led to chaos and suffering. The decisions made by these leaders had profound impacts on the colony's survival and development. On the morning of March 22, 1622, the settlers of Jamestown woke to a day that would end in bloodshed and horror. The Powhatan Confederacy, now led by Chief Opechancanough, launched a surprise attack on the English settlements along the James River. This event, known as the Jamestown Massacre, was one of the deadliest conflicts between Native Americans and English colonists. The attack was carefully planned and executed. The Powhatan warriors, who had previously seemed friendly and engaged in trade, infiltrated the settlements. They used tools, weapons, and everyday objects to carry out the massacre, striking when the settlers least expected it. The Powhatan wanted to drive the English out of their lands and stop the expansion of the colony. In just a few hours, the Powhatan killed around 347 settlers, nearly a quarter of the English population in Virginia. The attackers spared no one, including women and children. They burned houses, destroyed crops, and killed livestock, leaving the survivors in a state of shock and terror. Despite the heavy losses, the settlers managed to defend themselves and repel the attackers from the fortified areas. News of the massacre spread quickly, and the colony's leaders called for revenge. The English launched a series of brutal counterattacks against the Powhatan, leading to a prolonged period of violence and hostility. The Powhatan attack of 1622 had a significant impact on the colony. It showed how vulnerable the settlers were and how uncertain their life in the New World was. The massacre also marked a turning point in the relationship between the English and the Native Americans, leading to a cycle of revenge and warfare that lasted for years. The settlers' lack of understanding and respect for Powhatan customs and culture often led to unnecessary conflicts. For instance, English demands for corn during times of scarcity were seen as disrespectful and aggressive by the Powhatan, who had their own needs and traditions to consider. The immediate aftermath of the Powhatan attack was chaotic and frightening. The surviving settlers had to rebuild their lives and strengthen their defenses. The colony's leaders called for more reinforcements and supplies from England, emphasizing the need for military support and protection. From then on, the English launched punitive expeditions against the Powhatan, burning villages, destroying crops, and killing anyone they thought was a threat. This retaliation further fueled the cycle of violence and deepened the hatred between the settlers and the Native Americans. The English settlers invited the Powhatan leaders to a meeting under the guise of peace talks. During the meeting, the English soldiers offered the Powhatan leaders wine as a gesture of goodwill. However, the wine was poisoned. As the Powhatan chiefs began to show signs of illness, the English soldiers attacked, killing many of the leaders who had come to negotiate, including Chief Opechancanough, Chief Kisco, and Chief Kekataw. This treacherous act further escalated the cycle of violence and deepened the distrust between the settlers and the Native Americans. In the long term, the massacre had significant consequences for Jamestown and its growth. The attack forced the settlers to adopt a more defensive and militaristic approach to their relations with the Native Americans. The Virginia Company, which oversaw the colony, implemented stricter regulations and increased its support for the settlers. Jamestown was believed to be a site of immense wealth and resources, which drove many settlers to the brink of obsession. The quest for gold and other riches often diverted attention from essential tasks like farming and building, contributing to the colony's struggles. Despite the tragedy, Jamestown continued to grow and eventually became the capital of the Virginia colony. The settlers' resilience and determination to survive in the face of adversity laid the foundation for the future expansion of English settlements in America. The lessons learned from the massacre and subsequent conflicts played a crucial role in shaping the colony's policies and strategies. Jamestown was a place of dreams and nightmares, of hope and despair. The settlers' journey was marked by incredible challenges and unimaginable horrors. Yet, their story is one of perseverance and survival, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. The legacy of Jamestown lives on as a reminder of the early struggles that helped shape the history of America. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.